Hey guys, make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell to be updated every time I make a new video. Thanks, let's begin. Hello, gang. Welcome back to the channel. You're watching Sharkcast Entertainment, and I am your host, Brian Gatto. And today, I'm talking about Walpurgis Night. This is a screener I got from Eric Yoder because I supported the film on Indiegogo, and he sent us a screener. It had a temp score. It's the finished project. It just doesn't have the right music for it. It's using other films as music. Temp is temporary score. And this film has been a long time coming. I could not believe it when I got the email and they're like, oh, hey, here's your link. This is a private link sent between me and Eric Yoder and the rest of the people who supported him on Indiegogo. He allowed us to use clips from the movie, which I will. No audio, because of this copyrighted music. So anyway, we're talking Walpurgis Night, which I thought was Walpurgis Night, which they both sound cool. Anyway, wow, this movie rocked. It's a low-budget film, probably less than $100,000 if I were to guess. All the effects, I believe, were done by Eric Yoder, maybe a small crew. He's known on YouTube for making short films. He made a Halloween short film. He made an Old Man in the Rocking Chair short film based on stuff like The Beyond and House by the Cemetery, and Giallo is in there too. I was like, holy crap, this is amazing. Other short films he made were Who Goes There, which is like a Thing-inspired short film, which is probably one of my favorite ones. Absolute favorite was one he made for Within the Woods, which is an Evil Dead-inspired short film, which was just a trailer. He never got to finish it, and he said he never will be able to, and that's really sad because it looks ghoulish as hell. He's made a lot of good short films, is what I'm saying, and trailers for other films. He actually made another werewolf film before this, a couple years before, maybe like 6.
The Legend of El Hombre Lobo. See the werewolf terrorize the countryside.
Which is about 40 minutes. This Walpurgis Night is over an hour and 40 minutes. It's an hour longer. But that film was a lot of fun. Very gritty and gory and a very nice tribute to Paul Naschy. But this Paul Naschy tribute film is amazing, I have to say, because I was not expecting it to be as good as it was. Like, I've been burned on indie films before. I mean, look at pretty much a lot of Wild Eyes and ITN's catalog. I mean, they don't make indie films as much as Wild Eye does, but there's been times I've been burned. But this is not on that level. This is almost, let's just say, cinematically as good as it can be, because it's not an extravaganza of blood and carnage. It's a story. It has a story to tell that's very deep and very sad, and it's also very experimental in terms of how to handle it, because it's not just a werewolf story. There's other factors that go into it. It doesn't stop when he turns into a werewolf. There's this whole other layer of evil about it. And so they even give a backstory as to how he became a werewolf, where these witches were involved, and it's like, oh my god, I love this so much. It reminds me of like old Hammer films, or early 60s Italian films. It reminds me of Paul Naschy films. It reminds me of Sergio Martino films. I don't want to spoil what the other evil is in this film, because it's an experience like I did not expect. You see it in the trailers, you just don't know why it's there, and you don't know what it is. And then you see the film and you're like, oh my god, that makes total sense. That's just amazing. I like my little werewolf figure here. It glows pretty nicely. So of the Wolfman. I think the 2010 Wolfman, if I remember correctly. Anyway, that's the picture of the werewolf in Walpurgis Night. Walpurgis Night. It's similar to the werewolf in the Wolfman. I don't know, there's nothing really that looks as good as this, except for the Wolfman remake when he's all practical. It's an amazing design. It's actually freaky in some scenes. I had the misfortune of watching this on my phone first. Even then, I was scared in some parts with how the execution of this werewolf was done. The dark light coming out of the shadows. Even with the evil side of him, it's like, oh yeah, this is some scary shit. And people have been waiting for this film for a very long time. I'm happy to report that it does not disappoint, even when it switches to more of an evil side of the character, the main character. It does go back to the werewolf stuff. It doesn't stop. It's not like, oh, we're switching to leave this behind to go into another thing. No, it it sticks around. Like it's looming over everything, and then it even comes back into the story. It's amazing. Like I was kind of disappointed at first. I was like, I love this idea, but I like the werewolf more. And we get back to the werewolf, and I'm like, oh, thank God. And it's still awesome either way. It's just that I was promised a werewolf movie, and I wanted a full-on werewolf movie, and that's what we got. Stopped, got again. The acting is pretty solid, I have to say. There are some performances where I'm like, are these professional actors, or are these like just friends? Like, I don't know. It seems really well done. Some of the accents are pretty bad. I don't think they're all British, or if any of them are. It does take place in London in the second half, and it's not really in London, the shooting, I can tell, because it uses a lot of stock footage, and then it kind of cuts into the interiors where it's clearly just another area in America or somewhere, dressed up to be old-timey, but set in London. But that's just the exteriors. The interiors are different locations. It's not that obvious, though. That's the good part, because sometimes you switch from an exterior shot of stock footage to an interior shot somewhere else in the world, and you're like, that doesn't match up. No, this matches up. The structures, everything, it seems that the interiors are fitting just as well. That's awesome. I love that.
Please, Justine. A werewolf?
Part of me wishes the temp score was the real score, because they had tracks in there. I was like, this is perfect. There was tracks from, there was like a few of them I caught. Hold on, I have a list. The Conjuring, The Witch, The Lighthouse, and my favorite use of it, of any of them, was from Cannibal Holocaust. One of the more eerie tracks on the score was used in a very disturbing scene in the movie. And I was like, oh my god, this is beautiful. And I know the score, the main theme for this film, will be done by Christopher Young. And then the rest of the score is done by somebody else. But there were more tracks in here that I didn't catch, but I was like, hell yeah, that's 5 right there. And they're all awesome. They don't overtake the screen. They don't make it ticky. They don't really take you out of it, which is good, because I didn't want that. I was like, a temp score? I've never actually seen a film with a temp score before, but can't really hurt. And I loved catching the tunes and be like, oh yeah, that's from that. But it fits well here too. Also, the very last shot in the film, I was like, yeah! Well, not really like that. I was like, oh, yeah, I was pretty excited. I was like, yeah, you do a sequel. Come on, do it. Walpurgis Night 2, Dark Moon Rising. I don't know. Bad Moon. I've also heard, but haven't really looked into it, that Walpurgis Night has nothing to do with lycanthropy. Still, cool title. I would recommend this. They're looking for distributors at the moment, and it has grain on it. Like, it's shot on film. It's obvious. Shot on film or digital. I think it's probably digital. But it has a filter on it, and it looks good. It's not overbearing. It doesn't overtake it. Like, the Legend of El Hombre Lobo had a very strong and grainy filter on it, which I love, and had all these effects, like camera cigarette burns and scratches. This kind of has that, but it's nowhere near as egregious. I would definitely check out Walpurgis Night, especially when it comes out on Blu-ray DVD. Highly recommended. But that's going to do it for this video, guys. You've been watching Sharkcast Entertainment, and I have been your host, Brian Gatto. Make sure to like, comment on, as well as share this video. Like my Facebook fan page and support me on Patreon. All the links will be in the description below. Also, hit that notification bell to be notified every time I make a new video, and as always, subscribe.